Well, Europe's a big place, and there's a lot of difference between, shall we say, France on one hand and Hungary on the other hand. Across much of continental Europe, the model of higher education for most of the 20th century and much of the 19th has been to separate out teaching and research. It has been to encourage students to go to university, but not necessarily to succeed. So it's not uncommon for students to go to sit in crowded lecture theatres, not to see a professor in person, and for a significant dropout rate in the early years. And it's often the only way in which a university has been able to provide graduate level education is by reducing success year on year until they have a manageable number. That's changing, and I would say across Europe there is a more sophisticated approach to higher education. And if I look at a country like France, significant investment has gone into improving the quality of the universities and merging them with research institutes, etc. So that's the first challenge, I think. The second challenge is that philanthropy has been almost completely absent across continental Europe. Partially there's a mental connection here, which is that people would say, well, we're paying such a high level of tax and universities are funded out of tax. Why should we subsidize the government, in effect? And that's, I think, hugely disadvantageous. I mean, you'll see philanthropy in relation to music, symphony orchestras and opera houses and art galleries the whole way across Europe, and the church, of course, but less so in relation to universities. I think the third issue is that one of the consequences of this is that many of the wealthier families would decide that they would send their child abroad, not to be educated in this country, but to be educated in the UK or the US, partly because of the rankings, I suspect, but also because there is a more focused approach to higher education. So politically is the fourth issue. It just changes. The politics of Europe are writhing around at the moment and really quite obscure to the outside viewer. Germany's suffering at the moment economically. France has now got a political stasis. Italy's going very well. Greece is going very well. I just look across Europe and see quite different phenomena occurring. And in the middle of it, there are a number of European universities that are completely outstanding, have been so historically, are so today. Without stereotyping too much, I look at what the French can do in mathematics. I mean, it's one of the most advanced countries mathematically in the world, and actually so is Russia. I don't like to get too much into that, but the challenges across Europe are not equal. They're different in each country, but they, I suppose, lack the variety that we see in the United States of America of colleges, community colleges, colleges of liberal arts colleges, I suppose, research universities, and then the highly focused institutions, the elite, the Ivy League. None of that will you see in the European countries. It's a much more standardized model. There is, I think, a real challenge for leadership. One of the issues is it's quite difficult now to attract people to take on these roles. People feel that the role of a leader of a university is no longer as attractive as it was. You know, I'm old enough to remember university leaders coming in and carrying on with their own laboratories and their own writing and being able to devote significant parts of their time to their scholarly pursuits, which was terrific. It's very difficult to do that now. It's a 24/7 job. And it's also, and particularly in the USA, got itself embroiled in a political climate that's highly polarized, in which universities as independent seekers after truth are compromised one way or the other far too readily. A university president is now much more in the public eye, likely to be on the media at any occasion. Controversial political groups in society like to converge on universities because they know they'll get publicity by doing so than if they did it in a church hall 15 miles away. So I think the first thing that a university leader needs is a steady nerve. I don't say a thick skin. Thick skin's makes it sound as if you're sort of dismissing all of this noise around you. You have to be sensitive to it. The first group that you have to persuade of your qualities is your faculty and your students. And I remember advice given to me when I took on the job. First of all, you are never off duty. You are always on duty. Secondly, everything you do is going to be watched by everybody, and they will misinterpret it if they can. And you have to be out visible around the campus and talking to people the whole time. You've still got to have time back in the office. I think the next thing is when a university leader takes on a role like this, the thing you should never do is be critical of your predecessor. Your predecessor they may have been a disaster, but that's not your business to say that. And I've seen so many university presidents come in who give a sign of weakness by saying, oh, you should have seen the mess I inherited. It's just stupid. I feel passionate about this. The best university leaders are those who are self-confident enough to go their own way, to listen to people, but they don't do everything by consultation. You have to be able to take a decision, and people have to know that it's your head on the block if that goes wrong. It's not theirs, but you're the one taking the decision, taking the responsibility, and figuring out how you deliver it. Now, all of this sounds so easy. It's not. It's a really difficult job, and I have great admiration for those who get it right, and even some sympathy for those recently who haven't got it right, because it's too easy to take the wrong step at the wrong time.